Charlie Watts down the road. And I want to hear Charlie Watts down the road.
He was in the choir for a while when he was about 10. And he used to go to the choir practice on a Friday night. Well, he'd lose his voice. Then go to Scouts on a Thursday night and shout about, and he'd lose his voice again. He used to be always losing his voice. So I can't really think why he took to singing, because I thought, well, if he's always going to lose his voice, what a silly career to take. It really was, because he used to completely lose his voice with shouting. And I mean, he can't. He sings better in tune now than he did, but he can't really sing, can he? He hasn't got a singing voice at all. Don't know why they even kept him in the choir.
I used to really hate hearing myself on the tape recorder. But it was just sort of an inner thing. I just had to go and do it. So, you know, it was more up to me to learn to like my own voice, far rather than it was a thing that I thought I had a lot of talent at doing. The whole thing really centred around me being on stage. I, you know, just loved being the centre of attention so much. And I'd just do anything to get applause. I was very disliked, especially in my primary school years. And I sort of look back on them as being the sort of worst time in my life. I was just picked on by literally everybody. My one big ambition is to be able to walk into any pub in Britain and for everybody in the pub to know who I was. Even when I went to church a lot, I used to sort of wonder if it was almost a sin to be sort of, you know, that ambitious. I never worked out whether it was or not.
Dreadful voice, the worst voice I've ever heard. But, you know, that's all part of Otway. He's an idiot. And, you know, I think that's why people like him, or people hate him. It's always an extreme.
It's impossible to define what it is he does or how he does it. I mean, he certainly couldn't define it. It's just something you're born with him, and he's been entertaining people in different ways for, you know, ever since he was at school. I mean, he started off doing things like drinking bottles of ink and doing gymnastics on the parapet of the canal bridge to keep his classmates amused, and he's progressed to giving free concerts in the Market Square. But it all boils down to the same thing, really.
Right, the guy who's about to take this stage to many people is Aylesbury. He's come so far in the last 7 years, and it's culminated with this concert this afternoon. As far as I can see people, and it's fantastic. Thanks very much for coming. Can we have a very, very warm Aylesbury welcome, John Otway.
Look out, baby! Look out, pet! Here's the kid who's going to get the blues when you go away. I'm on fire, because I'm in love with a girl who's not the girl she was when I was out with her. I saw you in the garden, baby, and you looked so debonair. Beware of the flowers, because I'm sure they're gonna get you. I'm on fire to say goodbye. I'm gonna take that to you might say that today was the very last time you walked this word. You go tell him on your own. Well, I tell him where to go. sure they're gonna get you. Sure they're gonna get you. Yeah.
On the last 3 gigs of the tour, on the last tour we did actually, I had to appear in court in Aylesbury, and I didn't get out until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was supposed to have driven to Penzance and do a gig there, and I was just so ill, I was feeling really ill that day, and it just so happened the World Cup was on as well, and I'd like to have a few bob on it and watch it, but I mean, I'd certainly never miss a gig for the World Cup, but I was feeling so ill, there's no way I was going to make it, and I didn't turn up, just stayed at home and watch the football.
So big applause for John Otway and Wild Willie Barrett, and I'd walk on mine with an acoustic guitar. So, end of the 3 days, I just sent him a telegram saying he was fired. You like that?
Well, I think he should be playing on his own. Band isn't too good for him on stage. He tends to get lost. And it'd be far better spectacle if he was just on stage with a guitar, playing out of tune, making a noise with his singing. Much more fun.
Babies in the club. Ooh, babies in the club. Ooh, babies in the club. I know that the things that I said to my friends, not to mention that the way I behaved, I'm being paid back for those things that I said, and also the things that I did. My baby's in the club. I haven't been sober not once since they told her she was. I'm feeling much older, there's bags on my eyes, and I know that it's just because the baby's in the club. Ooh, baby's in the club. Baby's in the club. Baby's in the club. Often I wonder what I did this happened, but I know now that it has. The baby's in the club. I haven't been sober once since they told me she was. I'm feeling much older, there's bags on my eyes, and I know that it's just because. Baby's in the club. Baby's in the club. Baby's in the club. Baby's in the club. Oh no. Oh no, please. Bloody hell, baby's in the club.
Even though I taught him the violin, I never considered at any time that he would make a career of the violin. He never would, even if he'd gone on and made it his main study, which he didn't, you see, because he gradually switched over to the guitar. But he did have these problems of intonation, and coordination as well was one of his problems. But having said that, he then went on to become leader of the youth orchestra, so, you know, he did all right. He was leader for at least a season, about a year. And I'm not sure whether he wasn't actually still leader at the time we took the orchestra abroad. He may well have been. And the next year, he turned up with a guitar. And I think this is the first time that he'd ever actually played a guitar in public. And he sat down in a sort of little conversation pit that they've got down there. And the kids gathered round him and he started to sing, if you can call it singing. He started to make this howling noise. And a song which I presume was original. And again, the kids were absolutely beside themselves with laughing, not laughing at him, but laughing with him, you know.
When I first met John, he was a very scruffy person, very scruffy indeed. In his dress, his hair, the way he walked was very ungainly, very uncoordinated. He's still very much the same now in his attitude, his appearance, still uncoordinated, ungainly, and very scruffy. The difference is, I think, that the girls in school today have a lot of time and respect for him, and they think he's handsome and beautiful, and they have pin-up photographs of him and almost worship John. But when John himself was in school, it was the exact opposite.
I mean, being picked on the amount I was, say, in primary school, I mean, it does really instill you with a very strong, strong feeling that, you know, you've got to go out so that in the end of the day you'll be able to turn around and say see to everybody, you know. You've got more money, more success, and you're a more important person than they are. I mean, I know it sounds almost very bad thinking that way. But there's definitely that. There's definitely the people I wanted to make an impression on later on, and I sort of almost singled out for that. People I was at school with, teachers, people who I knew sort of basically really didn't like me. I mean, I really must have been quite a horrid little kid when I was at school. I mean, I now can't imagine why people would pick on anybody as much as they picked on me if they weren't really horrid. I mean, I used to get sent out of the classroom to wash my hands every lesson. And before or since, I've never known that happen to anybody. Just every lesson, the teacher would walk in and say, let's have a look at your hands, Otway. I sort of show my hands, go out and wash them. So he said, I mean, sort of, and the kids react to it, do you know what I mean? The other kids in the class react to it and sort of start calling you smelly and things. But you know what I mean? That really has an effect on you when you're that age. You know, when you're sort of 8 and 9, and you're sort of trying to be like the other kids. Because at first, you know, when you're sort of 7, 8 and 9, there's a great temptation to just be exactly the same as everybody else and just be very uniform with them. Which, as I say, I was about sort of 12 or 13, I suddenly realised that there was an advantage in being picked out.
I don't know if I'd actually say that John's ever had an inferiority complex. I don't think he ever has. But certainly his rejection at school has always been the driving force behind him wanting to be a celebrity. You know, to get rid of his roots, to prove to people, to show that he was better than them, because he always believed in himself, always, and could never understand the rejection. I mean, a classic story of John's rejection at school was that there was 42 people in the class. John sent out 42 Christmas cards to the school postbox and didn't get one in return.
Early one morning, baby, as the sun was rising, yeah, I heard a maiden singing a valley down below. And never leave me. Pray, pray don't deceive me. How could you use the power? Harden but holy, lonely, 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 bloody, lonely, lonely, lonely woman song. the sun was rising, never the maiden singing in the valley below. Oh, never leave me, try don't deceive me. How can you use her? Oh, a maiden song.
One of the major places he played was a folk club run by Wild Willie Barrett, would you believe? It was called the Bog Hog, and took place at the Derby Arms. John would just take his guitar up and play to all these folkies. And they just used to fall about. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I mean, he was so bizarre. He used to have this awful voice, even worse than he is now, if that's possible. Much higher pitched. And they couldn't play guitar. He used to thrash around in a couple of chords. He used to do somersaults. He used to burst into tears. The whole theatrical bit. And literally, I'd seen rows of people just falling about on the floor. You know, it was hysterical. And half the audience walked out, and the other half, you know, applauded for an encore. It was amazing.
It was very, very difficult in those early days because Otway was sort of almost a laughing stock of Aylesbury, and to mention his name in polite company, you know, you just didn't. I mean, if Otway's name came up, people would just laugh. So, I mean, it was harder in those days to sort of, you know, extol his virtues, if you like.
I haven't really kept close contact with him, but he sends his little newsletters and he sends me records every now and again. And, in fact, I didn't see him for quite a long time until I was outside in the garden. I don't know what I was doing, washing the car or something. And the dustbin lorry arrived. And this chap came down, you see, and I thought, he looks familiar. And it was John. It was John. For quite a while he'd been actually collecting the dustbins in this area, in Headnam. And I knew nothing about it, so I had a chat with him. And he, even with times presumably pretty hard working on the bins, he was putting all his money into producing records with Willie Barrett. And everything came out of his own pocket or pocket of friends, but he was quite determined that he was going to get something accepted eventually.
It was a very, very low time for all of us, because although we all had total belief, after sort of the halcyon days of all knowing he was going to be a pop star, it seemed a bit strange that here he was working on the dustbins, and he was rejected by everybody locally, you know, and nationally. Quite a few people took tapes around various record companies, and as soon as they heard it was Otway, they literally got physically thrown out the door.
Have you heard about the gypsy? Have you heard the lady call? Who I to portray her likeness? She's made everything come real.
When I was about 17, I went to see a fortune teller, and I had all these great ambitions. And she said, looked in a crystal ball and saw this amazing golden bird, which said was a symbol of great wealth and happiness. And by playing to kiddies in halls all over the world, and I never looked back. So after that, you know, there was just sort of so much confidence there that just sort of nothing held me back.
Then smile on and laugh about it. I see a golden bird spreading wings that she might fly. Underneath a stardust sky, and never ask why, but understand. Can break your head. I got a very bad pain up there after all those things you said. I think it's true, you couldn't see how all those things were hurting me. Ah, baby, you gotta agree that it's a pain. And it's a pain baby, pain, baby, yeah. Feels just like a knife in my heart, twisting in the hair. Maybe you're sadistic, I almost think you are. Ooh, baby, you don't seem to care that it's pain.
I don't know really much about this sort of music, but I've never heard anything else quite like it. He certainly seems to have some sort of originality. From what I can see, he draws on his experience as far as his lyrics are concerned. In the orchestra, he formed an attachment with one of the viola players. And I know that a lot of his subsequent lyrics have been connected with that. There was a time, I found out later, where he was actually living on top of Coombe Hill in a tent in quite rough conditions. And I think the family of this girl very kindly took him under his wing and invited him to stay in Princess Risborough, where she lived. And you'll find quite a few references to Princess Risborough and to Place Farm Way, which is the road, and Whiteleaf Cross, which is a beauty spot above Princess Risborough. And I know that his song titled Place Farm Way is directly connected with that, as is Louisa on a Horse, because you'll hear reference to Whiteleaf Cross on that. So, yeah, she must have had quite an effect as far as his lyrics were concerned.
Louisa said, get me a saddle, boy, and go and mount my steed. You and me together are going for a ride. And up upon the hillside, and upon Whiteleaf Cross, I say you ought to see Louisa riding and a riding, riding and a riding, riding and a riding and a riding and a riding on an ass. Get masked in the white stallion, and gonna charge you on down the track. Look out, Princess Risborough, I'm back. My way upon the roadside, my way up to the cross, just where I saw Louisa riding and a riding, riding and a riding, riding and a riding and a riding and a riding on a house.
For years, we were just dead against it, absolutely dead against it, and we used to argue, and he was so persistent. So when it got to a certain stage, you thought, well, he's at the point of no return, you might as well join him.
I've always listened to my parents, but I've always been very, very strong-minded in the direction I was going in. I mean, the greatest help to me was basically sort of supporting me when I just hadn't got any money, or there was no, and just keeping me. And just ending up having a hell of a lot of faith in what I was doing, enough to lend me a lot of money, enough to remortgage the house on my beliefs. Which, you know, I just think that's really good.
And he and Willie came in and we had a discussion. And they said that they were going to bring this record out, but they were, I think they said £5,000 short or something. So Pat and I thought about it quite a long time. Then we decided that it was either make or break, one or the other. So we got down with pencil and paper, John, Willie, and us two. And so we decided, didn't we, same night, that we'd sink what we had and remortgage the house for the other. So I went down and saw the bank manager. We all went down there and had a real talk to the bank manager. Asked him what he'd do. He said, well, as much as he knew about John, he'd do it. So I thought, well, if he was willing to sink his money, I haven't much to lose. That was it. We remortgaged this place for another 5,000. About 1,000 we had between us, and sunk a lot into it. And then we had some real fun after that. I took on selling by phone, and by phone and post, I was posting them every day, so 3,000 in a week.
The album started to sell, and Polydor took them up and put out the album themselves. The single called Baby That's Really Free came off that album, or a new version of it anyway, and it took on, as you know, got into the charts. And that was the real first taste of success.
Well, I wake up in the morning. Tell me, baby, what do you see? I see my true love and she walks up and she kisses me. I say, oh, baby, that's really great. I go walking down your house. Tell me, baby, is it good for me? Your mom and pa, they just want to kick me. I say, oh, baby, that's really free. Oh, really free, really free. Really, really, really free, really free. Mama, oh no, what's wrong with me? Every time I go near your baby, you say, your baby, that's really free. I try singing in the back room. Tell me, honey, with the heat on me. Every time you move towards my body, I say, oh baby, that's really free. Oh, really free, really free. So I wake up in the morning. Tell me, baby, what do you see? Oh, you see my true love. Ah. And she walks up and she kisses me. I say, cool, baby, that's really free. Look, I go walking down to your house. Tell me, baby, is it good for me? Nah. Your ma and pa, they just want to kick me. I say, cool, baby, that's really free.
Even at 13, he wanted to be a pop star, which might not be everybody's cup of tea, but that's what he wanted to do, and he's worked very hard to get that. You know, and I respect him a lot for it, because he's worked against a lot of criticism, both nationally and locally, and yet he succeeded. I think he succeeded. He's not an international star, he might not even be a national star, but locally, he's quite a famous person, and he has worked tremendously hard to get this. He's set himself an objective and has worked to achieve it.
For she is so young and my dreams will see me playing for the screaming ladies of Los Angeles. And when I decided that would be my stage, I was her age. I remember that was the end of time for me. Geneva, now Easter's been and gone, and fate has played its hand, and I am on my own. Warm is the hand that holds my arm and always leads me on, so I never can stay long. So smile and I'll see you in a while, as a tourist and a child, but not a loser. For you, no love is a very much harder thing to have. For I am still young, and it's true that I don't forget and I don't regret, and I ain't going to. And as I wipe away all the traces of Lisa blues, it is my shoes that walk across the stage for the applause. Oh, Geneva, take her to yourself and watch her while she rests, 'cause she talks of you as home.
Having single-mindedness in the way that I have has been as great a gift as any talent I've got. Because it just means that you never waver. You sort of set your life on a particular goal and you just don't do anything else apart from go to that goal. Nothing stands in your way, none of your involvement sort of draw you away from it, just you're constantly go in one direction and one direction only.
A lot of people have always said to me, surely you must have lost faith in John by now, at the times of, shall we say, they were incredible low. And, but no, because we always knew it was destiny that John was going to be a star. We never really lost faith at all. Sometimes we wondered how he was actually going to make it, but we always believed that everything would sort itself out and he would be huge.
The thunder cracks against the night. The dark explodes with a yellow light. The railroad sign is flashing light. The people stare out. The flesh is cold against my bones. And Cheryl's going home. Can you hear me shouting through the rain? Is there a way to stop the train? I got some reason to explain about the way I was today. Oh, the whistle moans and alone. And Cheryl's going home. Sing a rolling special, better night. I'm really desperately behind. And only one thing on my mind, and the rain and the tears are in my eyes. The things I had to say were not enough. And Cheryl's going home. She's going home tonight, okay. I'm running down the train track and I'm lost, 'cause she's gone away. Oh yeah. Cheryl, baby, I love you for all the things you've ever done for me, and that's true. Then I see that look in your eyes. Oh my God, I'm sad now, paralyzed. You gone away, and you ain't gonna stay. And I'm so sad you gone away. Shh. 'Cause that train, that bloody train in that station, it goes chuff, 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 chuff down the track. It's going chuff, 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 chuff down the track. Oh, Cheryl, it's going home. It's going home for a very last ride. You'll be by your time. And I want all my hopes in my wish. Singing a show for a little bit. Oh, Cheryl, let's go home. Cheryl, let's go home. Cheryl, go home. Go home for a carols going home.
John Otway.
Good night, thanks. You've been great.